Hola amigos, this is Somved and welcome back to CodePipe. We are in the last stages of designing our backend for our e-commerce website. In the last video we have seen how to add cart page and how to initiate our order. In this video we will see how we can integrate Stripe payment into our website. Before getting started, let me remind you to hit the subscribe button to support us. With that, let's get started. This is our website. If we go to our cart, we have some products here. If we go to checkout, this is our review page or confirmation page. Now if we click on proceed to pay, we should be redirected to a payment gateway, and in our case we are using Stripe. Just as a side note, we were supposed to be using PayPal for our integration, but due to some reasons in India, PayPal is not working properly. So we are going with the Stripe. We will be using some secret keys for our Stripe. So first of all, we will use Django environment to safeguard our secret keys. This is the documentation for Django Environ. If we search for Django Environ on Google, it will give us the first link. Basically what we are doing is we are making a file where we are keeping all our secret keys, and we are calling variables from this file wherever we need our secret key. First of all, we need to install this. We can see here pip install Django Environ. So let's install. I will install it using pip. It will take a moment. Then we need to create a .env file. We can create it in area 51 or the core folder so that we can use the secret keys in our settings.py. So let me make a new file here, .env. Also, never forget to add this in our .gitignore. So I will add .env. And if you are planning to provide this documentation or this code to someone else, you can make a new file with the name .env.example, where you can put all the variables but not the values. But in our .env file, we will put these two as default. This is our debug and this is our secret key, which is Django secret key. So from our settings.py, let's find out our secret key, which is this one. Let's cut this and go to our env file and paste it here, and debug is true, that we can change. After adding keys on this file, we will go to settings.py, and on the top we will initiate this env file. To initiate, we can also check documentation. If we scroll down, we can find this is the initiation. So I will copy this directly. In our settings.py, I will paste this. We are importing Environ. We are using this env to call this function. And for the debug, we are making a default case, which is a boolean, and by default it should be false. If we are changing the value in the settings.py, that is a different case, but by default it should be false. And then we are using this to read our .env file. Now what we can do is, at the place of this secret key, I can write env and I can call secret underscore key. Remember, this is the variable that we have in .env file. Let's do the same with debug. I will call it env, and in the quotes I will say debug. So it will take whatever is present in the env folder. Let's try to run our server and check if it is running. If we refresh our page is loading successfully, which means our Django environment is working correctly. Now we can use any secret keys without anyone having a look at it. Now it's time to get to the main thing, that is Stripe integration. So we will go to stripe.com. First of all, we need to set up our account or sign up on stripe.com, which I have done. After sign up, you will get this screen. So we will make sure our test data is on. We will go to developers, and here we will go to API keys. We are using this for testing purpose, so it will show us on the top as test data, and here also it will remind us that we are viewing the API keys for test. Here we want these two, publishable key and secret key. I will be hiding this for privacy concerns, but we need to copy these two keys and put it in our .env file. In our env file, we need to provide these three keys that will be related to Stripe. That will be Stripe public key, secret key, and webhook secret. Currently we have these two keys, that is public and secret, from our stripe.com, and we will get to see this webhook in a moment. We will also copy this and put it in our settings.py. Let's go down. At the bottom I will paste this here, and here I will use env Stripe public key. Same I'll do with the secret key, env Stripe secret key. And let's do it for this also. We will do this later, but let's copy this now. So using this, I will be keeping my secret keys safe, as well as I will be able to tell you all the details. So this is very helpful. After we have added our keys in our settings.py, we will search for Stripe documentation, or we can directly go to stripe.com/docs. This is a more efficient way. In here we will go to payments. Here we will get a list of services they provide. So we are looking for online, and we are looking for accept payment online. There are different things that you can explore, but for our purpose we will only use this. Here on the top we will use front end and back end. So for our front end we are using HTML, and for our back end we are using Python. On the right side it will show us one example. We can follow this to set up our code, but this is for Flask, so we need to make some changes that we will do throughout the video. Now to follow this documentation, first of all we need to install Stripe. We will do pip install Stripe. It will take a moment to install with all the other dependencies. Now it is successfully installed. Let's look at the next step. After this it says create a checkout session, and here it is also highlighting this. This is our checkout session. We can directly copy this, but before that let's go to our order views.py and make a view for this. If we scroll down, we will make a new segment here. We'll say for payments. On our documentation, if we scroll down on the top, it says import Stripe and the API key. So I will copy this, paste it here. For the API key, I have used my own key. So I will import settings from django.conf so that I can use my secret key from settings.py. Here I will say settings.stripe secret key. After this, let me make a view here. I will make a class based view, and I will call create checkout session view. I will inherit generic.view. The checkout session will be in the post, so I will say define post. It will take self, keyword arguments and arguments. Now we can copy from the documentation. So if we scroll down, this is our checkout session. So I will copy everything including this and this, paste it here. We can remove this except from this because we are not trying anything. Let's correct the indentation of return, and this should be good. Let's make some changes to our code here. This line item is basically the information about the product that we are selling. It will consist the description, currency and everything. So let me modify this. I will replace this code with this code. So we are also including price data inside this line item that will hold our currency, unit amount, that is in multiple of 100. So if we are using 1000, that will be 10 rupees. Then we have product data, name of the product or image. This image should be publicly available. We can use it or we can comment it out. In the next step, we need to provide our success and cancel URLs, because I have experienced if we proceed without these two, we may get some or other error. So first of all, we need to provide your domain. For that, what I did is I will take out the host on the top. If I say host is equal to self.request.host, it should be get host. This get host will give us the host on which our domain is present. So let's say http://codepipe.com. This should be actually get_host. After this, we need to provide complete URL on the success and cancel URL. Otherwise, we will get the error. For that, I will replace this with this code that will give me HTTP and the URL. And I'm formatting it using the host. And I'm also using reverse. I'll do the same with cancel.html by replacing this with this code. Here I'm providing the payment cancel URL for this. We also need to import redirect. So let's go on top. From Django.shortcuts, we will import redirect. Coming back. Now let's make views for our success and cancel URL. This is a simple function where I'm using a context of payment status, and we are using the success. So I will provide success here, and we are using order confirmation.html. Let me quickly show you how this confirmation.html will look like. On our website, if we click on proceed to pay, we will get to checkout page. After that, we should get a confirmation page, and this is how our order confirmation page looks like. We will inform the customer about the order confirmation. Here we will use the context of payment status that we are sending as success or cancel. Using that context, we can change what we are showing on the page. Therefore, we will be using this confirmation.html for both success and cancel. Coming back to our views, we have this payment success. Let me define payment cancel also, and this will be very similar, but here we are providing payment status as cancel and we are using the same confirmation.html. While we are here, let's modify our confirmation.html to take both of this context. If we go to confirmation.html, this is the content. So here I will use a if statement. I will say if payment underscore status is equal to success, we will show this. Else we will put a paragraph tag that will say something went wrong, please try again. We will close our if statement here, and if this should be payment status. Now we have successfully created our checkout session and we have also provided payment and cancel URL. Now let's see the next step in documentation. And to get better information about this, we have the documentation that says we need to specify payment methods. So here we are using card. Then we have the line items. As I have described, this is about the product that we are selling. Then we are choosing our mode, that is payment mode. After this, we have successfully created our success and cancel URLs. We have also redirected it to the correct URL. We have provided a success page in our confirmation.html. We have used same page for our cancellation. For our order review page, we already have it. Now we need to provide a checkout button. So let me copy this form here, and in our checkout page where we are using proceed to pay, I will comment this form out and I will replace this with the form I have copied from the documentation. For now I will work with this, but in the future I will make the necessary changes like adding all the classes. But for our action, we need to provide URL from our Django application. So let's make a URL for our create checkout session view, which is this one. I will copy this, go to urls.py, make a new path here. I will say create checkout session. View name I will paste it here and I will say as view, since we are using class based views. And for the name I will say create checkout session. Let's copy this, go to our checkout.html. In the action I will use URL template tagging. It will be URL order and create checkout session. This should work. Now let's see what is the next step in our documentation. After this checkout button, we can see we have to run our application. Our application is already working, so let's go to our page. If we go to cart, go to checkout, we have our button here, so let's try to click it. And we don't have the CSRF token, let's add that. Below form I will say CSRF token. Go back, refresh the page. Let's check our checkout button. If we click here, it says we don't have any rewards for success because we forgot to include them in the URLs. So let's quickly make URLs for them. So here, to save some time, let me directly paste them. This should be fairly easy. We are just calling our view and giving a name to our path. Let's see if it works. Go back, refresh. Let's try again. If we click on checkout, we are being redirected to the Stripe checkout page, which means our session is working correctly. And as I was saying, we will get the product description here and the currency is in multiples of 100. So if we are using 1000, we will get 10 rupees. Until here we are done. So we are getting our checkout page. What next? So if we scroll down, we can see after payment we have fulfillment, payouts and refunds. So in this video we will see how to use fulfillments, which means if the payment is completed, how do we make our order as placed. So if we click on it, it will redirect us to a new page, and this page will guide us how to check for payment completion and how to handle them. So first of all, we need to use Stripe CLI. We need to download and install it. So if we click on it, it will show us a page to install CLI. If we scroll down, here it will show us all the platforms it is working on. So if we go for Windows, we need to download one file here. On this page, if we scroll down and check for Windows, we have this x8664 zip. Let's download this. So let me download it to our main program folders. Let's save this. In our folder location, we will extract it, and inside this we have our stripe.exe. Actually, there is no need to install this. We can directly go into this using our command prompt, and we can use Stripe CLI. So let me open command prompt. Now I am at the location where our .exe file is placed. Here I can use Stripe status to check if it is working, and it says all services are online. So let's check our documentation. So after the installation, we might need to log in into our Stripe account. So if you are not getting anything with Stripe status, please try with Stripe login. So our CLI is working. Let's go back. If we scroll down, we have successfully installed Stripe CLI. Now we need to create our event handler. For that, there is one example, and this is already using Django, so we can directly copy this and paste it in our views. So below our payment success and payment cancel, I will directly paste that, and we need to import this CSRF exempt. So I will import this here only, just above the stripe, from django.views.decorators.csrf. We also need to import HTTP response. So let's import this also. From django.http we can import HTTP response. Let's see if we are still getting any error. We are not. As we have created a view, we need to make a URL for this. So let's copy this. Go to our urls.py, and here I will create a new path that will be webhook/stripe in quotes. Use the name of the view, and I will give it a name of webhook stripe. As per our documentation, the next step will be testing. So in our Stripe CLI, we need to provide this statement which will be listening to the webhook we just provided. So I will copy this. In our command prompt, I will paste, and instead of this localhost, I will provide my own URL for the webhook. So I will delete this, and I will paste this. This is my complete URL for the webhook. This is my host until 8000. After that, I have added the webhook in my order, so I will give order/webhook.stripe that I have provided the path for. So if I click enter, it will get ready, and it will give us this webhook secret key. We need to keep it secret, so I will copy this, and in my settings.py, I will provide it to my environment file for my Stripe webhook secret. After we start listening to this webhook, we can go through checkout as a customer, use these cards to see what we get. So let's do the same. Let's refresh, and let's go to checkout. Here we can use any name here. So let me give a random email. For the card, we need to use 4242. We can give any date in the future. So let's say 12/25, any CVC, any name, and let's pay. And we can see that we are getting 200 response. That is supposed to be okay. We are getting payment intent created, customer created, intent succeeded, charge succeeded, and we are also getting this checkout session completed. And this checkout session completion means our payment is completed. And on the backside, we can say we are also getting our confirmation page. In our views.py, with this view, we were just checking if everything is okay or not. Now we need to create one handler that will handle the completion process. For that, in our documentation, we have some other steps if you want to go through. To make things simple, I will copy my view, and you can take help from that. So I will completely replace this code with this, making the correct indentation. Now until here, this is something from the Stripe. After that, we are checking for the checkout session completed event. So we are checking if event type is checkout session completed, which means our session is completed properly. Then we will take out session using this, and if session.payment status is equal to paid, we will use a function to fulfill our order, and we can define this function below this, which will be define fulfill underscore order, and here we can deal with our order ID and other stuff. So this is how we can see if our payment is completed, and using that we can fulfill our order. Let me show the complete view on one page. So this is how this webhook view will look like. One last thing left is to define this endpoint secret. I will copy this, go on the top, and just below this Stripe API key, I will copy this endpoint secret, and I will use the webhook secret that we have defined in our settings. That will be settings.stripe webhook secret. And this is how we can handle the payment from Stripe. Now let's see how we can use this to fulfill our orders. So first of all, we will go to checkout.html. Here I will provide a hidden input field with our order ID that will look something like this, giving it a name of order ID. Now in our create checkout session view, we will take out this order ID and send it with the order. So in views.py, in our create checkout session, in the post, we will get the order ID from post data using this, and also I will get the order object here so that I can provide the payment and the order ID. So instead of this unit item, I will say order.price into 100, as this is a multiple of 100. Now for the order ID, the simplest way is to send it as the name of our product, but this is not efficient and we should not use it in our production. There are different ways like creating intent or creating a charge that we can have a look at Stripe documentation for more information. But for now, to make things easy, I will provide the order ID as a name. So instead of this name, I will say order.id, and on the top it should be self.request. We are using a class based view. Now we are sending the order ID as the name. So in our payment success or the webhook, we need to get that order ID. So for that, I will use this code. So I'm taking out the line item because I'm providing the product description in line item here. After taking out the line item, I'm taking out the order ID, which will be present as description in this line item, and I will send this in our fulfill order. And in our fulfill order, we will use this order ID to mark the order as completed, which will make ordered is equal to true. So I will replace this with this code. I'm taking out the order object using the order ID. Then I'm making order.ordered is equal to true. And I'm also setting the order date as datetime.now. So let's import this datetime also. On the top, we will directly import datetime. Let's go back and we will save this order. This should be the final stage, but remember we are also dealing with the seller side here. So the quantity of each item in this order will be decreased from the inventory. To tackle that, I will use this code. So I'm going through all the items in order items. Then I'm taking out the product variation because we are using stock in the product variation model. And we are decreasing the number of quantity each item has from the product variation stock. And then finally we are saving the product variation object. And with this, we can say that our order is placed and inventory is also updated. So let's make a final check. If we go to our cart, in our cart we have two orders, that is Hulk small black and Slim Jeans 30 black. We will check after the order placement if the stock is decreased or not. So in our backend, for our female Slim Jeans black 30, we can see the stock is 12. Let's check after the payment. Proceed to checkout. Click on checkout. Let's put any random email. Card number will be 4242. Any date, any CVC, any name, and let's pay. Meanwhile, let's check our command prompt. There is no change in our command prompt. So I will copy the command, close the listening and do it again. We are getting ready. Now let's try again. Let's give any random email. Card number will be 42 again. Let's pay and check our command prompt. Here we are getting some error. So let's see what is the issue. After some debugging, the problem is still unknown, but now our payment is working. When we check our view is exactly the same. We have the same URL orders. We have same checkout page. So let's try one more time. We don't have anything in our cart. So let's add one item. Let's add this one. Let's add to cart. Let's go to checkout. Before going to the payment page, let's start our Stripe listening. So here I will use Stripe listen forward to and my URL, that is localhost up to 8000 order/webhook/Stripe. If I press enter, it is getting ready and we are ready to go. So on our browser, let's go to checkout page. We have order ID 3 and we are getting the amount as 30 rupees. So let's put any random email. Card number will be 42. Any date, any CVC, random name, and let's try the payment. On our CMD, we can check we are getting 200 response, which is okay. All responses are okay, and in the background we can see we are getting the success page. Our checkout session completed is also 200 response okay. So let's check on our admin page. Here if we go to orders, we have 3 order here. These 2 I have tried and this is the latest one. Here we can see user is admin and items I have one male Hulk t-shirt black L, which we just added to the cart, and we can see the time also, which is the latest one. We can see all the other details as mobile, email, address, etc. Let's check our website. Here if we again go to cart, we don't have any products, which means we have placed our order and that order is turned into true, so we will not see that order anymore, which means our payment is successful and we have successfully handled the payment completed event and we have placed the order for our customer. And also we have successfully managed the inventory. Whenever the item is being ordered, the inventory is decreased. With this, I think this is a good point to conclude our video here. If you are coming to the channel for the first time, do consider hitting the subscribe button and push the notification bell to not miss out any videos. Give us a thumbs up if you like the video. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. We will meet very soon with a new video. Until then, this is Somveer taking your leave. Adios.